DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Wedding Chat with Jeremy Brech and Dave Ternier.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Dave, you know, it's like I just saw you last week.
You know, it's really hard trying to keep an incognito trip to South Dakota somewhat under the radar.
Yeah. But that was your first time here. We're talking about first times tonight. So
nice.
That was your first time here in Sioux Falls.
It was, and it was awesome. Man, I can't wait to come back.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Chris Hintz, who's actually a colleague here in Sioux Falls, he runs Pinnacle Productions. Very successful. They do a phenomenal job in their business. And he did, well, why don't you explain a little bit? You kind of did a lot of the planning with him. So go ahead and give us the run through.
Well, yeah, in short, Chris and Holly, they got engaged at Christmas time. And Chris, as you mentioned, of course, runs Pinnacle Productions with his partner, Jeff. I'm going to butcher last name, so I'm not going to say it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And they got engaged, and Chris, said, look, Holly and I, we've never talked about having a long engagement. We're just going to get it.
Chris and Holly got engaged, not Chris and Jeff. Just catching you up. Okay.
Right. And for those of you that know Chris and Jeff, you could tell where the confusion may be obvious there. Anyway, yeah, long story short, because I can get long-winded, Chris had planned out most of the wedding that he was going to have with Holly before he even proposed. Very smart man. And it was a surprise wedding. So basically what happened was they invited a pile of guests. I don't know, was there 150-ish people there, 200 people?
Yeah. So to kind of backstory even that, I remember sitting down with Chris, gosh, it probably had been 5 years ago. And it was, man, I'm never going to get married. He's like, I don't care if I don't date anymore, just coming off of a situation or a relationship. And then him and Holly met about four years ago, a little over 4. And I remember having lunch with him again. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really like her and she's great and everything, but I don't know. We're both on the same page. I don't think we'll ever get married. And, so it was kind of
I did not know that.
Yeah. And it was his whole plan, I guess, as we had lunches later on throughout those years was, if we ever did get married, it'd be small. It wouldn't be anything too extravagant or anything like that. And so it was, he kept it small. And I think it was really them.
Yeah.
I don't know Holly near as much as I know Chris. I mean, their relationship, just hearing and talking to them both, they are perfect for each other. So it was cool, seeing what they'd put together. And I'll let you carry on with what the rest they put together.
Yeah, that's really neat. I didn't know that you had had those conversations with them backstory wise. That's cool. Yeah. So yeah, basically all these guests showed up to what they thought was going to be an engagement party at a remarkable venue you guys have there in Sioux Falls, Blue Haven, a really nice place. And so guests were milling around. And then, at the planned time, I, kind of got everybody's attention. And, after a few moments of that, Bill Herman joined me up on the stairs, and we kind of, hammed it up a bit that we were going to do a toast to Chris and Holly, because you're on an engagement party. There should be a toast. And where's Chris? Well, there's Chris. Come on over here, Chris. And where's Holly? Holly. And, right on cue, the band started playing Marry Me by Train, and out comes Holly from behind us in a wedding gown, slowly down the stairs. And the rest of the night was just, it was a lot of fun. It was. Obviously didn't have the scope and size of maybe the weddings you and I and even Chris are traditionally used to. But as you mentioned earlier, they wanted something small, a little more simpler. So from that end of things, it felt kind of easy, but nevertheless, a real honor to be invited down and just to celebrate an evening with some good friends, and awesome to see you there as well. And of course, Catherine was there, and our girls, we all get to hang out. So, but anyway, nobody probably cares about that, but it was fun. Sioux Falls, I'll be back.
Okay, so we're talking about this, and we talked about it was so them, and I think, we can kind of spin off of that, and here's the nugget here. People hire you because you're a good fit for them. Don't try to change their idea. Don't try to change who they are because you do over the top wedding receptions or whatever it is. If they are a simple couple, then allow them to be simple and understand how the planning is incorporated with that. Your job as the MC, their music styles, make sure it's them. And I think, they didn't try to change who they were or what they wanted because of what everybody else wanted. They created what they wanted. And like I said, I think they did a great job of that. And it was well done. They had the people, look at you, Bill, being involved. You guys really brought a good flair to it. And I think it was something that Sioux Falls hasn't really seen. They haven't seen Bill perform. They haven't seen you kind of interacting with people. And I think that's that was that spice that I think they would want in the reception. So I thought that was really cool. I'm glad that you guys were there on their behalf, not just as a professional, but as a friend as well. And again, it was great seeing both of you guys.
It was.
But that kind of brings me to where we actually want this topic to go. Chris and I have known each other for, quite a number of years. Yeah. And it was even before him and Jeff had kind of gone through their merger. But I remember we had dinner. We had like a group meeting of all the DJs in our area. And, I remember Chris walking out of B-Dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings. And he's like, all right, I'm going to raise my price. I'm going to raise my price up to $1,200. I'm so nervous. Because I think he was like $800 or $900, and he was so nervous to go above $1,000. And this was probably 5 years ago, maybe 6. And just to show you that, people can progress. You have to push yourself. You have to make leaps and bounds. You can't just raise your price. You have to give your price purpose. But having the relationship that we do, it's good because you need that network within your community. You need that network within your market, but more importantly, you need that networking outside of your area. And that's how Chris met you. That's how Chris met Bill. And so that takes us to the first time we're going to be talking about conferences. We have the Mobile Beat conference coming up next week. And, again, how that all incorporates, it starts with one conversation in your market and, hey, you got to go check out this show. You got to do these things at this show. If you have somebody in your market who's never been to a DJ conference, then if you want to raise the bar in your market, tell them they need to go to that. Because if you're the bar, but the rest of the bar is not going anywhere, then it's going to be hard for you to progress if no one else is progressing. If that bar is not being raised.
So true. What credit would you give to the fact that so many DJs from Sioux Falls attend these conferences? And every one of you had a first time, of course.
Yeah.
But how important would you say that has been to your entire market being lifted up? The fact that many of you attend these conferences, it's not just one of you.
Yeah, no, I think it's critical. And I think it pushes everybody. It doesn't just say, oh, I'm comfortable, I'm good. You know, I'm going to raise my price and I'm just going to leave it right here. It kind of like when I raised my price, then it seemed like, well, then these guys raised their price. And then when they did that, then I could justify the rest of my guys and raise their price. So our whole company kind of moved forward and kind of progressed all at the same time. And I think we actually brought, you know, you talk about all these workshops because I have a lot of the DJ companies who asked, you know, what workshops have you taken? Oh my gosh, I've actually taken pretty much every workshop except for PhDJ, which, you know, I can't go next week because I have to head back for a wedding.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to take that workshop. But my goal wasn't just to make myself or my company the best. It was to make our entire market the best, because the whole market has to move for people to buy in, to understand the value. And that, you know, I'm not competing against a $500 DJ. I'm never going to compete against a $500 DJ. But when our whole market's getting pushed up, it helps everything. So I kind of go back to all these workshops. Well, we actually brought Mark and Rebecca into Sioux Falls for the Marbecca workshops, and they were here for 2 weeks. Like, they were here for 2 weeks at a time. I think they did, what was it? It wasn't 8 workshops.
I think it is 6 workshops at least.
6 workshops, yeah. They actually did 2 weeks, and then I think they went somewhere, and then they actually came back for another week with like 2 more workshops. So the reason that was important for us is, again, now it gave everybody the opportunity who couldn't travel out to Las Vegas or couldn't travel to Hawaii, where they have their workshop now, which hopefully someday I can make that happen. But it gave everybody the opportunity, and it was right in front of them. If they decided to take it, that was up to them. So I think workshops and I think conferences are extremely important. Without them, it's hard to move your entire industry up if you're the only one attending.
Yeah, very true. Very true. You alone are only so motivational to yourself. What's ridiculously motivational is when somebody else in your market says, hey, we can do this.
Yeah.
You cannot motivate yourself anywhere near to the point that will. And people have heard me yak on about it for, you know, ages. You know, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing in my market were it not for all of the other people, the DJs in my market, that have done what they've done to help this market mature. And for people to, you know, begin to expect that they may spend many thousands of dollars on a DJ. That is no longer a strange thing here. If that's a strange thing in the market of somebody watching this, get everybody together, get them to Mobile Beat, and let's talk about that first time. When was your first time to Mobile Beat?
Oh man. Well, it was at the Riviera.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. I want to say, gosh, come back to that.
I'm February 2011. I know it because it's a part of my history and story and where everything changed for me.
Yeah. Keep talking. Let me think on it. Entertain everybody for a second.
February 2011 was my first time on Mobile Beat, and I didn't go alone. You know, Brian Putworney from here went down. Dale Carrick from Tunes Music Services, he's from here. He went down as well. Oh gosh, who am I missing? Who else was on that first trip? Guys, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting you. Corey wasn't on that one. Dennis wasn't on that one. Anyway, it was a remarkable first trip. And for anybody watching this who is going to Mobile Beat for the first time, I would have to say the most valuable thing I took away from that first trip was 2 things, I guess. Number one, I didn't realize how big the world was outside of what I thought I knew. Like, it was just, it was endless. I couldn't get over how much information was out there.
Yeah.
And number 2, you know, the conversations I had with people that trip turned into lifelong friendships, not just friendships as in, you know, go and have a beer with sometime. Friendships that have motivated and inspired and pushed me beyond what I would have been capable of doing my own. So go ahead.
I think if somebody knows the answer to this, I think it was the first year that Mobile Beat was at the Riviera, because it was at Tropicana before that, and then it got moved to the Riviera. So if somebody has the answer to that, post that. I want to say it was 2000. I want to say it was 2008. I'm guessing. It could have been before that. I'm not sure.
Got it.
But yeah, let me know if anybody posts the first year Mobile Beat was actually at there.
Okay, I'm monitoring comments on YouTube and on Facebook.
All right,
By the
cool.
way, Big Daddy's watching us right now. His first time to the show was 15 years ago.
Nice.
And sadly, I don't know if you've heard, but he is not making it this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's having grandkids left and right. I mean,
he is having grandkids left and right. Shout out to Big Daddy. We love you, my friend. Love you.
Yeah, the couple things that I remember from the first time going is it's overwhelming. It like compared to even what it is now. I mean, now it feels like there's more. It feels like there's a little bit a lot better structure. Before it was kind of, hey, there's 8 seminars going on right now. Go ahead and go pick one. I like the fact that there's like simple single tracks or maybe 2 of them going on at the same time. I remember seeing Ben Stowe talking about, I think it was power distribution or something like that. And I'm like, really? There's a workshop or a seminar on this? And then I watched it. I sat in through that thing and I'm like, okay, I'm buying some Furmans. So I bought a bunch of the Furman rack mounts to help with my power. I mean, little things like that, you know, as a DJ company, when you're just starting, you're basically putting stuff together and hoping that it's going to work. You're hoping, and then then you're like, why do I have that buzzing sound going through my audio? Like it must be a bad cable. But I mean, it could be your power distribution. I mean, again, like all those little seminars really add up. If you really start paying attention and, you know, not sitting there on social media and things like that. Social media wasn't a thing, you know, in my first couple of years that I went. But, you know, I look back now and if I would have done it over, I don't know if I would have changed too much because not learning as much my first year might have pushed me more to learn when I go to these conferences. Cause I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, you know, going to see this, I don't even know who the entertainment was, the Village People, or I didn't actually go see the Village People, but I remember going through some of those and I'm like, this is the highlight of this conference is seeing the entertainment, you know, seeing this person who was an icon, you know, back in the 80s or icon back in the 90s. And, you know, that was the highlight of my conference. And then also it was like, oh, I can win a free laser or I can win you know, something like this. It was how, you know, what can I take home? What swag can I get? And then, you know, my second year, I'm like, okay, there's more to this. There's more than just all the free stuff in the show. The biggest thing, I mean, I look back, if I were to give anybody advice for going to a conference for their first time,
that is what this is about.
Exactly. See, everything comes back. It's a big wheel. If I were to give advice for someone going to the conference for their first time, I would say set up 2 lunches or 2 dinners with somebody who you've wanted to meet or you've wanted to pick their brain. Either pay for their dinner, you know, whatever it is. If you're asking them to dinner, pay for their dinner. If it's somebody that you've met on social media, on idea sharing, you know, email, or you just you really look up to somebody in the industry, sit down with them and break bread with them, because that is the most valuable time you can spend at a conference. And you cannot guarantee that opportunity anytime throughout the rest of the year, because you're running a work schedule, they're running a work schedule. And it's a good way to build your community outside of your market.
Yeah, very true. Well, and there's something about how open DJs get when you meet them at a conference too, because you're not from their market. They don't have any walls or barriers up.
Exactly. They're a lot more willing to share.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, when you sit down for a seminar or whatever, be the first person to reach over to the person next to you or behind you or whatever and say, hey, my name is Dave. Who are you? Because you never know if that might be the person, that'll open up all the doors for the next opportunity in your life to do something incredible with this. Maybe this is a hobby right now, but maybe that person will, show you the way to do it full time or whatever it might be.
That person could be your Dave Ternier.
Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, never eat lunch alone.
Yeah.
Why would you eat any meal alone? God, social media never made it easier for us to always be in contact with the people we meet.
Right. I think we were talking, while you were here and Bill was giving you a hard time that I didn't get invited. I didn't get invited to a Tuesday dinner. But
no.
But the thing is, like, I started looking at my schedule. It's like, okay, well, I have an opening on Tuesday night. I've reached out to a couple people. I said, hey guys, I would love to have dinner with all of you guys on Tuesday night. And they're like, yeah, sounds great. Sounds great. Sounds great. So next thing you know, again, now is when you start setting up those meetings. Now is when you start setting up those, hey, can I get an hour of your time? I did that with Mike Walter a couple of years back when it was the ADJA show.
Yep.
I said, I have a lot of questions. I want to pick your brain. I want to pay for lunch. And he's like, absolutely. I'm not going to pass up lunch, And
Right.
That was the most valuable lunch that I've ever paid for because it answered my questions. But the one thing I want to also encourage you to do is not just take, but to give. So ask, how can I help you? Or let me tell you about my company. It's not an opportunity to brag about how awesome you are. It's not an opportunity to, well, this is how much our company makes. And, you're not there to put their company down and really put yourself on a pedestal. It's about sharing and it's about giving back and asking, how can I help you? Or what questions or what are you working on in your business that you feel I might be able to bring value to? Because look at Joe Bunn. He's doing hiring the music.
Right.
Yeah, he's doing hiring the music. So
that guy.
Again, that is one of those topics that I didn't know that Joe had a lot of. I know he has background in that, but I didn't know that it was that rich of content. And I'm going to be buying that disc while I'm there anyway, or by the way. But again, if you can sit down with somebody and give and take a little, you'd be amazed how much you can help somebody who's maybe been in the industry 10 times longer than you have. Look at all these new companies that are starting up that are successful. They're successful because they might be using a social media platform that maybe someone who's been in the business for 20 years isn't very good at. Or they're still doing things that they were doing 20 years ago. So maybe that's how you give back to that person.
Right. By the way, everybody, Jeremy's just fishing for free lunch.
Actually, I have lunch scheduled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I will be available Thursday.
Look at that. My lunches are still wide open.
Yeah. And Dave does know some stuff. He does know some stuff.
Well, see, now it sounds like I'm fishing for the lunch. Stop it. That's really cool, though. I'm glad you shared the story about you, saying to Mike, hey, can I buy a lunch? I want to pick your brain. That's really, really smart on your part.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely paid its dividends. It could have been a $50 lunch, but it was the best $50 I spent that year at the ADJ show.
It's Vegas. It's going to be at least a $50 lunch.
Yeah.
What else? First timers. Try to get to every seminar you can. Obviously, go and talk to the vendors. Go and check out the exhibit floor. That pays the majority of the show.
Yeah, let's talk about the vendors because I think that gets overlooked, and I think people do things wrong when they go to these conferences. You go to the show floor to check out the new gear that's coming out or the new gear that came out. It's good to get your hands on it. Go touch it and play with the menus. Do those type of things. Like when I went to NAMM, Chauvet had just came out with a bunch of their new stuff they launched for the NAMM show. And I get right on that fixture. I've never seen it before. I've never used it before. but I'm back there. I'm playing with the menu. I'm seeing, what does it do if I do this? What happens if I do that? Then I can see how the dimming ratio is. I can see, the mixing options. But that's what those shows are for. The second important thing when you go to check out that gear is to buy from those people. Okay. Don't go on Amazon. Amazon isn't paying for that show that you're at.
So true.
Don't go to, I don't know. I don't want to throw too many things. Don't go to eBay and try to find that piece of equipment, because eBay's not paying for that show to happen.
So
the
true.
vendors who are there and the sales reps are selling those items, so that way these shows can keep their doors open.
So true. So true.
And I'm guilty. I used to do that. I would go and I'm like, oh, I love this light. I'm going to go see how much it is on eBay. And then I'd try and go find the cheapest. But I think you can contest to this as well. What I've found is eBay isn't going to give me, it's not going to give me help if I can't figure out how to run this light, or how to turn the speaker on, or I shouldn't say turn the speaker on. Ben Stowe is a huge advocate of helping in teaching and learning.
God, especially here on Just Talking News TV.
Oh yeah. You can find him Tuesday nights, and he gives his time, and it might be $20 more expensive, but you know what? The $20 sell, or the $20 help that you'll get from him is well worth it.
So true.
Same thing. I mean, and it's not just Ben, but Ben is a great example of that.
Right. Well, and we won't go down this rabbit hole today, but the kind of shopper you are will attract exactly the same kind of shoppers to your DJ business.
Mm-hmm.
We won't go too far down that rabbit hole tonight, but think about that statement. You are your own best and worst customer. So how do you shop?
Yeah. Do you look for value, or are you looking for the cheapest thing?
Right. So sure. Showroom floor, yeah, go check out the showroom floor. What about after the conference? First timer tips for after the conference. So conference is done now, Jer. I met some great people. I collected a few business cards. I heard some great content. What am I going to do about the content I saw? What am I going to do about these business cards I've got about these DJs I met? What am I going to do?
Well, I think if you look at right after the conference, you probably should have signed up for a Marbecca workshop or PhDJ. But yeah, so you're saying when you get back home,
yeah,
how do you? Yeah, that's a great question, and I wish I could tell you that I have it all figured out. The downfall for me, and I'm not saying that I never enjoyed it and I didn't enjoy it, but in the past, the last 3 years, 4 years, 3 years,
right,
I had been working the Mobile Beat show. And anytime there is like the DJ Expo, I'm presenting, I'm doing a lighting seminar, those type of things. So it's a lot harder for me to really dig into the content. If you found something valuable, I know that Mobile Beat actually, like, you can buy the video series of the conference. I believe it still goes on. That might not be a bad idea, especially if you're a first timer, because again, it's a lot to take in. You're going to get through day one and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I need a break. You're drinking from a fire hose, and it's true. So it's a good recap. You can't take notes on everything, because if you're so focused on the notes, you're not actually focused in the content.
So true.
So, and don't sit there and record it yourself. Like we were saying, these conferences have to keep their doors open, and the funding of paying, I think it's like $70 for the video. I don't even know, $35. That little bit of cash is well worth it. That's like spending, that's like buying the 1% solution. That's like, all these DVD series that are out there. Yeah. Just spend the money and get the value out of that little bit that you have to spend.
Yeah. I would say you're going to collect a lot of business cards likely when you go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And, what are you going to do with those? I'm all for friending people on Facebook and that type of thing. But pet peeve, send them a message.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy, thanks again for telling me about XYZ. looking forward to staying in touch.
Yep.
And a friend request. Having a million random friend requests, and let's be honest, we're all going to meet a lot of people, and we're not going to remember everybody's name. Help each other remember each other. and I'm no Scott Favor or Jim Cerrone. I don't have the memory like these guys do, and I think most people are like that. So, as for you saw some great seminars. I wish I could tell you I do this religiously every time. What you should do is you should go through all of your notes after the fact, create a few action items. I don't do that as consistently as I would like. I know Vicky Musni, she will go through and she'll retype all of her notes out, format them nicely, this and that, because the act of rewriting them puts them in here.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So, I tried doing this last year. Paper, folks.
Oh man,
my notes from Mobile Beat last year. They say handwriting keeps it in here way better. I'm probably going to bring this book again. I quite liked having this book with me. If for no other reason, then it saved me having to worry if I was going to lose my computer or iPad.
Yeah.
Because if I lose a book, it's not the end of the world. I'll ask a friend if they can share their notes with me.
The memoir of Dave Ternier.
Yeah.
So the thing, nice. The thing that you talked about with the, send them a message when you go to confirm or request a friendship. I currently have, I have 376 friend requests on Facebook that I have not confirmed. And so if any of you listening, or if any of you have ever sent me a friend request and I haven't friended you, it's because I don't know who you are. And if I do, I apologize, because I guarantee I've probably seen you before, but you have to be able to connect the dots for me. You have to let me know how I know you, how that conversation's been started, or a discussion of what we've talked about. So it's hard to filter some of those things. I had added somebody, I guess, a couple of years ago, and then I posted something. You might remember this. I posted something on my personal Facebook page, and they just ripped into me. I'm like, there was another DJ, and I had posted something that was, it was DJ related, and he just ripped into me like I just insulted his mom or something. And so I'm like, okay, I didn't screen this good enough. I don't know who he was. And obviously we didn't click. We didn't see eye to eye. Right. But, those are the things, like you said, just put a message in there. Just put this is why I'm sending you a friend request. Because you can give business cards, those type of things. But to me, if you say, oh, hey, thanks for having breakfast with me on Monday, boom, I know exactly who it is.
Yeah. Well, and you've given them more of a reason to connect. You've given the person you're asking to be friends with on Facebook more of a reason to connect with you too.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about any of you, but I received a couple of friend requests in the last few days from DJs who, the moment I clicked accept, all I got was instant requests from them to go and like their business page. They added me to a bunch of groups, and I'm like, huh? Whoa, stop. Unfriend if that was your purpose.
Yeah.
I don't have time. Somebody's commented here, David Ellick. Oh, so that's why Jared doesn't take my friend request.
Sorry, man. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, I'm not commenting lots to all of you watching on the comment stream here, but a lot of great comments here. In fact, future topic for us, John, if you're listening, or Jeremy, can you write this down?
Yeah.
One comment, the iPod is hurting the business. People are doing weddings with them. I would love to tackle that topic and how there are ways to have the iPod not impact your business at all. Let's go down that rabbit hole one day. And this is just what's working for me, Robin. Don't mean to be confrontational with that statement. Just we'll share. I'll share how the iPod isn't affecting me. Talking is hard tonight. What else?
No, that's a great question, and I know that was always a fear that was going to be happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great a great topic, and I would love to talk about that.
Yeah. Every DJ market is different. You have to go with what works in your market. That's true to a point, but you can dictate what the market likes as well. What Jer and all those guys in Sioux Falls have done really speaks to that. What we've done up here really speaks to that. But it's a bigger topic maybe. But that does come back to what we started talking about, which was you've got to get all the DJs in your area, or more than just you, on board of going and trying some new stuff out. And and there was a comment earlier, actually, which Jeremy, maybe you and I can speak to a little bit. There was a comment from someone earlier. You know, I've tried getting people to come out, open up, they just don't. This is a personality thing, I believe, but not everybody is that connector.
Yeah.
You may or may not be a connector. And that doesn't mean that you are great or you suck at something. In fact, I need to read the book again. Malcolm Gladwell, The Tipping Point. He talks about connectors, and those are really important people to have in your market if you're not that person. If you're not that person, you have to find the person who is the connector. The connector is the person who gets along with everybody, who easily creates relationships with everybody. That you need that person in your market. If you're not that person, find out who that person is, and they will get everybody else doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, and you know I guess what I could say is just be a leader in your market. Then, if they're not willing or they're not, interested in going out to a conference or take a workshop, be that leader. And once you start raising your price, once you start really capturing your market, guess what? They're going to follow. They're going to ask what, and again, that's what happened here. We just saw opportunity, and everyone kind of built around that. And the next thing you know, it's, hey, let's work together and let's make a strong market. I can guarantee that the DJ industry in our market is probably the strongest out of all of the industries in our market.
Ooh, there's a statement from Jared tonight.
Well, I guarantee most of the DJs in my market would probably agree to that. We are probably the strongest, the most stable, because of what we've done as an industry, what we've done in our market.
What you've done as a community there in Sioux Falls.
Yeah. And it wasn't like, hey, we should all raise our price. It wasn't like let's corner the market. It was, let's find value. Let's put a dollar value to that value in what we bring to our couples and our clients. And, I'm starting to see it not just in weddings, but, I don't do anything with bars or anything like that, but there's things outside of weddings that we now start to see that this kind of rise. And I think that's important because, like I said, the only way a business is going to thrive is if we up the game. If you don't do anything to improve, you're going to get left behind. And I'm guessing that's probably not your goal for your business, but
that's true. And I realize there are some factors in some people's lives that limit their ability to attend conferences like Mobile Beat. So I don't know how far to push this statement, but you've got to have your first time at one of these conferences. You have to get there, do what it takes. I mean, not to go all personal on everybody here, but a month and a bit ago, the two people who were going to look after our daughters, because my wife was coming with me to the conference, they all of a sudden weren't able to look after our girls for the week. My father-in-law was one of them. He's just died of cancer. And, that could have put a stop to our entire trip because we live 6 hours, 7 hours away from our closest family due to Catherine's work. But you know what? A colleague of Catherine's, a friend, they're coming through. They're going to look after our girls for the week. So that's an extreme situation. But I guess I just say that to illustrate the fact that we could have let that limit our ability to do what we wanted to do for this next week, but we just worked like hell to find a way to figure it out. And it took a lot of figuring out. Let me tell you, in fact, I'll be in Vegas less than 24 hours from now, and we're still figuring some last minute things out for our girls for this next week. But you know what? We're taking ownership over the fact that nothing's going to get in our way.
Yeah.
So if you've never been, yeah, we're all in, and I highly, strongly encourage everybody else to adopt that same mindset. All in or nothing.
You know, some of the other things too, when you look at these conferences, well, for instance, I mean, we're talking about Mobile Beat because we're going to be at Mobile Beat next week.
Yeah.
The entertainment and everything, you know, go to those parties and network with people there.
Yeah.
Find people that you click with, and you know, start hanging out with them, because you will build a relationship with them. There's the, gosh, what is it? PV has a DJ spinoff, correct? Don't they have some DJ spinoff going on Monday night?
DJ Takeover is Monday night.
Yep. Yeah, DJ Takeover. So, you know, go to DJ Takeover. And then I think right after DJ Takeover, I think, isn't Janai spinning over at one of the clubs?
Ooh.
At Aria?
Is it?
I think so. Well, anyways, there's an after party. Go to the after party. Yeah. Tuesday night's entertainment. Go out and have fun. Do you have to get trashed? No. Because that is not going to allow you to meet people and have the best foot forward if you are completely wasted.
So true.
So, you know, pace yourself, have fun. I would definitely encourage that, but make sure that you're having fun with people and that you're not getting in such a state that you can't even remember the show.
True. That's very true. And tying into that, somebody might roll their eyes at this, but some of the best networking happens over breakfast.
Yeah.
And you're not having breakfast with somebody. If Elder Ryan, you piled into the hotel room at 4 a.m.
Have you ever roomed with that guy?
I did once, yes.
So did I. It was actually, we roomed at, what's the one? It's got like the mirrors over the bed. SLS. So luckily I'm like, let's see if we can get a different room. So we ended up getting a different one with double beds. But I was like, this is going to be weird. But yeah, you know, the other thing, you probably have a lot of this all figured out if you're going to the conference, but if you meet people at the conference this year and you plan on going next year, ask to share a room, not just for expense reasons, but to be able to be in a room with somebody after the conference and be able to, I mean, shoot ideas off of each other. When I go to some of these conferences, I love rooming with people, because you'd be amazed how much education you get just by talking and, you know, one-on-one in a room. So if you already have plans, if you don't have plans for your rooms yet, just go on Facebook. And I mean, you might want to do a background check on them, but if it's somebody that you know, reach out to them and say, hey, I don't have a room yet. I would love to room with you. I see that you're going to the conference. Because again, that time is every single moment when you go to a conference is extremely valuable. So always take advantage of that.
That's true. And one other thing quickly, John's probably like, you guys got to wrap it up.
Feels like the first time.
Here's another thing I would challenge everybody that's attending the conference for the first time. Well, and even if you're not attending for the first time, but find some people who you may or may not know, who are nowhere near your market, and plan to meet up with them once a month through video chat.
Yeah.
3 or 4 different people, 5 different people, whatever. No more than that probably. And say, hey, you know, look, you know, why don't we get together next month via video, and let's just put an hour aside once a month. I have done that with a variety of groups of people over the last few years. You know, people, you know, one group had, you know, Hawaii and Cincinnati in it. I can't remember where else. And I pulled some amazing relationships from those and some ideas, and God, it was great. In fact, shout out to David Lewis in Hawaii, who got me into my first little group like that. Just awesome. Come out of the conference with that, and then the conference won't, you know, all of a sudden just be an expensive thing that you did last month that you don't remember taking value from.
Yeah.
With that,
so final thoughts, Dave. What's your final thought? Was that your final thought?
Is I gotta go pack.
Okay. Well, my final thought, I would say, going to a conference, if you've been to it before, if you're going for the first time, always be in the moment. The end.
Always be in the moment.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Take care. I'm Dave, DJThought.com. That's Jer. Shop time. Night, everybody.
Have a good night.
John's doing this to us, is he? So we're still here, folks.
John?
This is what's great about live and how people know it's live. Normally, John comes on and segues us off. So John obviously is saying, there's not enough, guys. You need to give more.
It's like, not enough meat and potatoes.
Here's another quick thing.
And we're back. Welcome back.
Here's another quick thing. If you see XYZ person who you look up to on Facebook or wherever, or you watch their videos,
don't be afraid to talk to them.
Be afraid to talk to them. The people that do this, and I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but the people that do this are some of the most giving, nicest people you've never met.
Mm.
And yeah, I remember being at a couple of conferences, Mobile Beats, where I saw that person. I'm not going to say hi to them. They got all those people around them. Screw it. Walk up, say, hey, John, just want to say I really appreciate yada 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 yada. And then hang out, see if you can become a natural part of the conversation. You may or may not. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I've not fit into a lot of groups I tried to fit into. Let me just put that right out there. For anybody, there was a comment actually in the side chat earlier about clicks. There's a lot of DJ clicks. Well, of course there's a lot of DJ clicks. I used to actually really bristle at that word. I don't know about you, Jared. But of course there's lots of groups of people where certain personalities naturally gravitate toward each other. Shouldn't that be obvious? So before judging a clique, keep in mind that, sometimes this is the one time a year that I get to see my buddy Jer, and I might want to go and have a visit with him. Just Jer and I.
Yeah.
Of course, last week in Sioux Falls, but I do understand that there is a negative connotation associated with cliques, and some of them are very well deserved. No doubt about that. But I don't think we need to treat that word as negatively as it always is. Thoughts on that, Jer? Especially for first timers. I know this is a tough thing.
Yeah. Don't be intimidated by anybody. If, again, like Dave was saying, if you want to meet somebody, you have to make that step, because if they don't know you, they're probably not going to come up to you. They don't know why they would come up to you. So give them that reason. Be inspired by people. Dave, myself, John Young, every single person that you see on DJNTV, we're DJs just like you. We are normal people just like you. There's nothing special about us. Like Dave said, we have the opportunity to share and give. Mm-hmm. And we'd like to do it on this show. We'd like to do it in person. So if you see me in the hall, you see Dave in the hall, I guarantee you come up to us, shake our hand, say, hey, love your show. Again, that's connecting. How do you know me? How do I know you? Hey, we love the show. I got some questions for you. Or, hey, Dave, I heard you don't have lunch on Tuesday. I'll take you out for lunch.
Thanks, Jeremy. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. But again, those don't be intimidated by anything. If you really admire somebody, then go up to them and tell them you admire them. But connect and allow that person to give back to you and give back to that person.
Yep, sounds good.
So Are you back, John?
So the
John
score
is back, and he's letting us wrap up.
The score is Jeremy's got 3 lunch dates, and Dave has got a pity date. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, actually, I'm giving my lunch to Dave, but it's something like that. We actually just made up a whole nother 5-minute of segment because we didn't have anything in the first 45 minutes. So but yeah, we better come up with something. We'll do that while John is making his way back.
Awesome. Good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.